Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to wrap up this week's theme of extended tempo shifts, of music that features gradually accelerating or decelerating tempos over an extended period of time, with a track that I have heard before, but not this rendition. We're going to check out Epica doing In the Hall of the Mountain King. I'm already expecting this to be pretty epic. Let's just dive in. Let's see what they're bringing to the table. Okay, the bass guitar in the background is already giving a lot of cool energy. I love all the subtle differences in the picking styles. It's the bass, man. It changes the song. The bass kicks, okay. Yeah. I assume that's all of that. Yeah, dude. It's a very different flavor. I think that's what stands out to me. Part of it is the timbral changes. We do have more orchestral sounds in here, of course, but a majority of this track is the metal band. We've got the electric guitars, we've got the two different tones of those, we've got the bass, which is just this massive sound, dude. It's a beautiful tone for this, honestly. I love the way the bass guitar sounds on this. And it's electrifying. And that's not to say that the orchestral version, the original version of this isn't. I think they're both great in their own ways. But what I love about this is that Epica said, okay, this is what metal does well. We have energy, we have headbanging, we have bite. It really comes down to the production of things. These two guitars can sound bigger than an entire orchestra because it's electrical. But there's also the effects pedals too. There's the compression, there's the distortion, there's the overdrive. We can give it an energy that you normally can't with acoustic instrumentation. And that's the angle they went, rather than just a one-to-one performance. Hey, we've got guitars, we're going to play it. We've got an orchestra, we're going to play it. They really lean into, well, what if this was a metal song? Yeah, we will include the orchestra later. We'll build into that. We'll have a more traditional finale. But if this were a metal song, what would we want to focus on there? And I love how that comes through right from the very start, with the way that the guitars and bass sort of triangulate this creeping sound of these two voices trying to be as delicate as possible, and this bass in the center, just this massive sound. Almost as if the guitars are trying to evade the bass. It's just a very cool way of setting things up right from the start. And the other thing that pulls into this too is the drum work, which is intense, dude. It adds so much to the track just because of the power of metal production on drums. These guys are hitting these drums incredibly hard. They're produced to be very energetic, but also double bass kicks. Anyone? That's always going to ramp up energy, and I think that bringing those in towards the end of the song here was a phenomenal way to ramp up into the peak moments of this track. So I love the entire metal element of this song. But there's also the balance too. Even early on, we start to have some strings, some brass showing up alongside them. It isn't like we're going to do 75% metal and then we're going to throw some strings in at the end because this is a classical track. They're incorporated throughout. Little touches here and there, little additive ornamental sounds, texture layering. It's a nice way of slowly introducing ideas as we get through this. And yeah, that was in the original too, but the original didn't have electric guitars. And it brings a different vibe to it. We're not just layering on new parts of the existing band, or orchestra, but we're layering on parts that are typically outside of the metal sound. And yes, Epica is a classical metal band. They have strings in their music, but not like this, not always like this. I'll put it that way, where they're complementary in a way that's still quite unique and distinct to their own. And the way that they sneak in here is once again very purposeful, very intentful. I think what I'm trying to get across here is that it's easy to make a metal cover of something. It's difficult to take a cover or take a song that you want to cover and try to figure out how best it would work within your style. That's the thing that really eludes a lot of musicians. To me, a good cover is one where you have a reason for doing what you're doing, of doing the cover, because you have a vision in mind of what this song could be in different hands. You recognize that you're not just playing someone else's song, that you are an arranger of this track. We don't really talk about arrangement too much, which is actually all I've talked about now that I think about it. I've brought this word up here. This entire analysis segment has been about the arrangement, which is true. What can I really say about In the Hall of the Mountain King? It is a phenomenal work of art that so many people know, whether they know it by name or not, and there's really not much I can add to it that you probably didn't get out of the experience yourself. This is certainly not, a first time listening to In the Hall of the Mountain King. My mind is blown. I've never heard anything like this before. No, I've obviously heard this track before. Everything to really discuss about it is the arrangement of it, but it's not something we really talk about too much in modern music. Technically, anytime you have a cover, you are an arranger. An arranger is someone who takes an existing piece and modifies it for a different group of instruments, a different range of instruments, different range of vocalists, whatever you're doing. Anytime that you hear a cover and the vocalist has changed a line, maybe embellished it, put more movement into it than the original had, or maybe reduced the pitch because it was too high for them or too low for them. If they had to increase the pitch, they have arranged the music. They are an arranger for this track now. The original composer was the original artist or production team or whatever. The arrangers, the people who made the cover, and then your performers are the band or artist who's performing it. Through that lens, how often do you hear a cover that really is different from the original in like a transformative way? I find that to be pretty rare. More often, you're going to hear something that's just a one-to-one cover, or maybe it's a one-to-one cover, but there's electric guitars now instead of an acoustic guitar or instead of a piano. The arrangement is the arranger's job, what they actually put into adapting it, is very minimal. Take what's already there and just hand it to different instruments. And that's mostly true here too. Compositionally, this hasn't been altered. But sonically, it has. So much of the energy of this has been manipulated to benefit metal's sound. And part of that is production stuff, what these guitars sound like, what the bass sounds like. But there are some arranging ideas too. When instruments come in, how they contribute, what kind of instruments are going to contribute to the existing metal sound before we bring everyone in. The idea is still we have this one phrase and we're going to repeat it over and over and over and over and get faster and include more instruments. That doesn't change at all. But I think it's tough to argue against the idea that this isn't a very different experience than a traditional orchestral rendition of this. And a lot of it comes down to the arrangement. And I think that's going to wrap this up. Because again, what can I say about In the Hall of the Mountain King? It's one idea that speeds up and just sounds epic. It is a phenomenal track. But really what's important here is Epica's arrangement of it. And I really hope that that word can somehow seep into mainstream vernacular when discussing covers. Because I'm a fan of one-to-one covers. I think we all are. We love to hear rock versions of, the track from Frozen, Let It Go, or something like that. You take something that's very pop coded and then you turn it into metal or something. It's a fun time. But the covers that really strike me are the ones that are well arranged, that are done for a reason, because somebody heard a track and said, wow, that would actually be better if we did it from this perspective or this musical angle or thematic angle, and came at it basically as their own song with the pre-written concept to it, a melody to incorporate or lyrics to explore, but you have a very different idea of what kind of emotion should be tied to it. And while again, this track doesn't go into like a total conversion perspective of a cover, arrangement is still a really important job when it comes to any cover. And I feel like arrangers don't get the credit they deserve. Anyways, this kind of went in a weird tangent. I mean, it was not a weird tangent, it's still educational. It's just not really about this track in particular. These are my thoughts on Epica's In the Hall of the Mountain King. I had a blast with this. I hope y'all did too. And it is an incredibly fitting track for this week. And honestly, I don't think I would have thought of it myself, but it is an obvious pick too. Pretty much the entire song is a consistent accelerando. What did you think of it though? Did you enjoy it? Do you prefer this over an original? Let me know. Put that and anything else you'd like to add into the comment section below. Above that, in the description box, is a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell, I greatly appreciate all three of those. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.